Hi guys, welcome to my channel Siri Tries to Do Things. In the last video, we saw why we need a budget, how do I budget, and what amount should be allocated for each category in the budget. And if you missed the video, I will link the video below. Don't forget to check it out. So when it comes to money, there is a basic rule of 50, 30 and 20 in the market. So usually many people follow this rule. So 50% goes towards your expenses and 20% goes towards your savings and 30% goes towards your wants, like any big purchases like purchasing a TV, video game that you like, or anything, any of the wants, like haircut, salon, like any of that stuff. In today's video, I want to talk about how do we set up a budget and what are the budgeting tools that you can use and what types of budgets are available and what works best for you. So let's talk about how do we set up a budget. So to set up a budget, what I would recommend is sit down, take a pen and a paper. I know, don't do the calculations in your mind or in online or just in a online calculator or anything. Sit down, take your pen and your paper. It is very good to have the clarity when you see things writing down. And when you do this exercise, it will be really good for you and an exercise for your brain and give that clarity about where your money is going. So first, sit down with a pen and a paper, go to your bank account. So that the accounts that you use, your credit cards or your checking accounts or your saving accounts, any of the accounts that you use to pay your bills or to purchase something or to purchase gas, any of the accounts, take all the accounts and then open them and write down from the last 3 months. For example, this is November. So when you go 3 months back, August, September, October. For August, write down in a category how much you paid for the rent, how much you paid for the electric bill, gas bill, water bill, everything. Every penny that you have ever spent, write it down. Even if you made a credit card payment, write it down. This much of my salary or this much of my money is going towards the credit card. So write it down. Once you write it down for August, September and October or last 3 months, what happens is you will know that this is what you're spending and then divide them into buckets. The first bucket will be your fixed expenses bucket. The second bucket is the variable expenses bucket, and the third bucket is the miscellaneous bucket where your money is going towards fun, eating out, or any other stuff that you purchased within the within that month. So once you categorize these into buckets, write down and you'll see for the month 1 how much you spent, month 2 how much you spent on this particular category, and month 3 how much you spent on this category. So now is the time to make your budget. So now, since I mentioned the generic rule in the beginning, as a beginner you can start off with the generic rule and then make slight twist and slight modifications to that generic rule. So 50% of your money should go towards your expenses, your rent. That includes your rent, your variable expenses, any of the you have to pay kind of stuff. So 50% of the amount should go towards that. It doesn't have to be 50%. The recommended is 50%, but if you're able to do it in 40% or less, that is absolutely fine. So that is really good. So go ahead and fix the time for budget now. So fix it towards the 40% towards these expenses. Next, save 20%. This is the basic minimum. Please save 20%. Like I mentioned in the last video, if you can't save 20%, even go below that. Try as much as you can. Try saving even 1%, 2%, doesn't matter. Keep saving money. That is a must thing, guys. Please do that. And then the 30% rule is for fun. Make small changes. For example, let's say in month 1 you were eating out for $100. So all the eat out total came for $100. Month 2 it came up to $150, and month 3 it's also $150. So the average, probably you are using around $150 a month to eat out. So don't make drastic changes where you're spending 150 now, but don't make like, oh, this month I'm going to allocate only $30 budget to eat out. Don't make this kind of drastic changes. Be realistic about, like, the budget. Be realistic about the budget. So if you're spending $100 month one, 150 month two, 150 month three, make sure this month you're spending around, like, 120. So you are already saving like $30 for this particular month. So make sure this $120 and use wisely. Make sure, okay, do you have any birthdays this week? Do you have any of the occasions that are coming up that you want to eat out? Or probably you'll have some lazy days which unexpectedly you just want to order food or eat out. So use wisely how you can use this $150. So $150 probably you can use it all at once, or you can divide them into small pieces and, like, use $20 here, $30 there, like $60 somewhere. So use them a little wisely, but do not make the mistake of making a drastic change going from $150 to a $30 this month. And also when it comes to groceries, meal planning is a very good way to save money on groceries. Everything that comes into the house, everything that goes in the fridge, everything that goes in the pantry needs to be used. There is no excuses for this. Like, make sure when you're on a budget, there is some kind of discipline you need to follow. Living off from hand to mouth and getting off that survival mode is really hard, but it takes effort. Budgets are not sexy, but please make them sexy by keeping them realistic. And when you see, like, for example, the $30 savings in the $150, $120 when you put for eating, and you already save $30, slowly your mind starts changing towards savings. It keeps drifting, changing the way and drifting towards the savings rather than on how much you're spending. Do you guys know why budgets don't work? Because people make drastic decisions. People make that, oh, I was living on $1,000 a month, now I have to live on like $200 or $500, which is practically not realistic. So setting up this unrealistic expectations is very hard, because you get frustrated, you get depressed. You might be motivated for a certain period of time, but there'll be a point where you feel like you're deprived of your own life. You're not doing anything much. So then the frustration, the deprivation, everything build up together, and then they just give up. So do not be that. It's okay. Everything is not done in a day. Like Rome is not built in a day. So everything cannot be done in a day. But I'm glad, like, we are taking this step, but make small changes to your lifestyle that will impact. And when people get frustrated, they start spending more. So I really advise you guys. So please start making small changes to your lifestyle that are more powerful and more impactful, so that you can see the change. I would say this is more like pinching yourself and, like, getting into the zone of uncomfortable level where you're like, we always eat out for $300. It's so hard for us not to spend that kind of money. That's okay. Then budget on the grocery side, or budget on, like, the electric bill, or budget on, like, a different category. That is okay. For some people, some categories are non-negotiable. But for some people, they are. So try which category is negotiable to you, which bucket you can negotiate more. So I would say once you write down all these, now you have, like, okay, this particular, okay, rent, I spent like this much, or this is what I'm going to spend. And if you're single and if you can move to a lower rent place, this is so good for you. Please try to. And also, if you say that my phone bill is too much, call the customer service, talk to them, see if you can get another plan, or see if you can, how you can negotiate. I'll do another video in detail about these things later. If you're interested, please let me know down in the comments. And by the way, if you like my work, please like, share, and subscribe. That motivates me to do more videos. So now let us see what budgets are available, what are the types of budgets that are available, and what budget works best for you. So I can talk to you about like 3 types of like budgeting which I have seen people around me. The first one is a cash envelope budget. I learned this from my mother-in-law. She always carries an envelope with a cash, and I'm not joking, and she spends money out of it. So she has a budget where she knows how much money she has and what she has to spend towards certain category of certain set of things. And the next one is calendar budgeting. So I learned this from my mom. For the month, she plans out all her groceries. There are like, some kind of rice, beans, and all she brings for the whole month so that our family don't go hungry. So she makes sure that the necessities are there, like based on the calendar, like for the 30 days or like for the summer or for winter. So I learned that from my mom. And paycheck budgeting, and that is me because I'm heavily dependent on my paycheck. I budget using my paycheck. So see what works best for you. Are you a cash envelope person, or are you a calendar person, or are you a paycheck person? So I am a paycheck person because I get paid and I want to divide that money into different categories and make sure that every paycheck that I received, every penny in the paycheck that I received is going towards a certain direction. So I do not plan like my mother-in-law or mother where I budget, I carry cash. Somehow carrying cash is not for me, and also monthly budget or like a calendar, like a yearly budget is not for me because my my expenses keep going up and down, and sometimes I have like car insurance, sometimes I have like HOA fees, sometimes I have like different expenses which are very irregular. So see what works out for you, and it is nothing wrong, all three works, but you have to find out what's your personality is and what works good for you. And I think there is another, I can categorize another category as well, which is a credit card budgeting. People spend all their expenses on credit card and pay all of it by the end of the by the end of the closing date or prior to the closing date. So if you're a person like that, that works for you too. Personally, that didn't work for me. I spent way too much on my credit card, and when I saw, I'm like, I'm spending too much. So I do it from my checkings account. So I am really bad at that kind of budgeting. So see what works for you and experiment with things. Try to do cash. I tried cash and it didn't work out for me. I was not able to keep track about like if I withdraw like probably like $500, and I at the end of the month I was not sure where the $500 went. And so for me, using my card works well, using my checking account works well because I can know that I spent this money towards this and this money towards this one. And calendar budgeting, I told you, didn't work for me because of my irregular expenses. So see what works for you. Try to experiment using different budgets. See what works for you. Let's talk about what are the budgeting tools that are available out there and what tool you should be using. Honestly, the one that really works for me is I somehow like when I see things written. So I really like when I'm able to write stuff up and when I'm able to do stuff. So it that really helps me. But there are other tools like you can use Excel, you can use Google Drive, Google Documents. You can use Mint.com, which I like. I use Mint to connect with all my accounts. Some people like their privacy. They do not want to put their data online. So I totally agree with it. So it's up to you. So there are like online tools as well as offline tools. For me, offline and mint.com like personally worked well. Select a tool that is useful to you, and select and try to be on a budget. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe. And if you guys have any suggestions, please reach out to me on my Instagram @Siri tries to do things, and please share your experience. Comment down below what do you think of this video, and try to tell me if there are any suggestions and if you know any other topics, and if you want me to cover any other topics, please do let me know. Thank you for watching. Bye.